Hi everyone, this is Marie Blue Angel, and I am playing a demo called The Winter Wedding. This is a demo coming from the winter visual novel Game Jam 2024, and so many, if not all, of the visual novels there are winter themed. It can vary in other genres that are also incorporated into the story. So, this one seems like our character is going to be married, and we are going to have to see what events unfold before the winter wedding, so to speak. And again, since this is a demo, it'll be relatively short, but I'm excited to check it out. So let's get into it. If my mouse will let me go. Ooh, I'll be blue today. 10 days left until your wedding. Winter. Not exactly your favorite season. Though you've always found it soothing to watch snowflakes slowly fall and evaporate against the warmed glass of the window, you were never one of those children eager to rush outside for snowball fights or to build snowmen. So when your nanny said your overprotective parents wouldn't allow it because of your frail health, you didn't feel particularly disappointed. Now there's no one left to enforce such rules. And that's one of the reasons winter is so sorrowful for you. Your father was never much interested in winter sports, but you know he couldn't resist your mother's persistence. That persistence ultimately cost them their lives when the ice on the frozen lake suddenly gave way beneath them while they skated. By the time they were pulled from the water, it was too late for anything to be done. As you touch their gravestones, even through your gloves, you can feel the freezing cold of the marble. It's already been 5 years since you lost them. Oh, here's us. Mother, Father, I miss you both so much. If only there was a way to stop that accident, to turn back time. But that's impossible. Anyway, I brought you some beautiful flowers. You carefully place the white lilies on the grave, speckled here and there with patches of snow. Oh, that's a nice touch for the background to add the lilies. The harsh snowflakes sting your face, threatening to bury the flowers completely under the white blanket before long. Feeling the need to leave soon, you cast one last glance at the grave. Oh, I guess my mouse is dead. And in the blink of an eye, the white lilies are no longer white, but soaked in vivid crimson blood, seeping from the grave itself. What? Your heartbeat quickens, and your breath forms a white mist that clouds your vision. Even so, the red is so intense that it overwhelms you, your head spinning, your knees buckling. Just as you're about to collapse, a strong arm catches you by the shoulder. Turning your gaze, you find Tristan standing beside you. Your butler. Oh, hello. I knew this, and still, seeing the height difference is fun. You're just here with us, thank you, Tristan. He looks so severe. I mean, they both do. His attentive eyes shift between you and the grave, as though trying to discern the source of your distress. There's no trace of alarm or confusion in his demeanor. Frantically, you glance back at the grave. Is it like psychological then, potentially? Just from, I mean, though it has been 5 years, hasn't been that long. And also to lose her parents so suddenly, that's a lot. The lilies are as white as when you left them. No trace of blood remains. Are you all right, my lady? Is something the matter? I'm fine, Tristan. Just a little dizzy, that's all. So, then, a fleeting hallucination. You can't exactly say it's the first time. You've never fully recovered since losing your family. You must have been affected by the cold. For a moment, you can't help but feel uneasy as the way his gaze sharpens, as if he's aware of what you're thinking. Now is certainly not the time to meet with another new doctor who promises to cure you with sedatives. Thankfully, the familiar steadiness in his voice soon puts you at ease. Shall we head back to the carriage, my lady? Please, hold on to me tightly. With Tristan's help, you make your way out of the eerily silent cemetery and to the carriage waiting for you. We're returning to the manor. The roads may be icy. Drive carefully. The coachman nods quickly and takes his seat. Everyone seems eager to leave this place. Everyone except you. Your attention is momentarily distracted by the stark white of the gloves covering Tristan's outstretched hand as he helps you into the carriage. White lilies were your mother's favorite. You recall how she'd always pick the most beautiful one from every bouquet and tuck it into your hair with a smile. But after that hallucination, perhaps it's best to choose a different flower for your wedding bouquet. You didn't want to falter at the altar and embarrassed yourself in front of everyone. I only laughed because it rhymed. My lady, if you could hurry. I think I dropped my handkerchief at the grave. Feigning a flustered expression, you press your hand against your bag. The handkerchief is right here. If we leave a message with the caretaker, it should reach the manor within a few days. Oh, but it was a gift from Oscar. You notice a momentary pause in Tristan's expression, unaccustomed as he is to hearing you mention your fiancé's name so openly. I'll fetch it immediately, my lady. Please, wait in the car. Are we not a car carriage? Do we call carriages cars sometimes? No, let's go together. My parents. I'd like to see my parents one last time. Tristan's questioning gaze meets yours, but you'd rather seem sentimental than paranoid. You know Tristan, known for his calm demeanor and logical approach, isn't exactly pleased with your request, but refusing you isn't an option. As my lady wishes, if you'll excuse me. Without waiting for a reply, he adjusts the loosened collar of your coat with a practical air. Unlike you or the coachman, he seems completely unaffected by the cold. In moments like these, you can't help but wonder if he truly is. Once he's finished, Tristan turns to the coachman. Keep the horses ready. The coachman's silent nod betrays his discontent, but whatever the case, you're certain he'd rather be anywhere than in Tristan's place. The sudden violent gusts of wind forces you to cling tightly to Tristan, relying on his strength and warmth as much as you can. I like that we get the movement of the sprites here. When you reach your family's grave, nothing appears out of ordinary at first glance. We must move quickly, my lady. The weather is worsening. You know he's more concerned about you than himself. You can't help but silently berate yourself for your impulsive decision. Perhaps it really is time to start meeting with the new doctor. The handkerchief isn't here. Let's go back. Wait a moment, Tristan. What's this flower? Huh? Amidst the bouquet of white lilies you left on the grave, so easily scattered by the wind, one vibrant red flower stands out. As he pulls it free, Tristan's eyes narrow slightly. It appears to be a crimson lily, my lady. The hallucination you saw earlier flashes vividly in your mind, sending a shiver down your spine. But what's it doing here? It was likely mixed in by mistake when the bouquet was prepared, my lady. You reach for the crimson lily in his hand and examine it closely. It's identical to the white lilies you selected for your family, except for its color. Oh no, I remember the bouquet perfectly. This isn't possible. In that case, perhaps it was blown here by the wind from another grave. Look, all the flowers on that grave over there are red. Curiosity and determination compel you to rise on your tiptoes, trying to see the grave Tristan is pointing out. Indeed, on the snowy hill, there are red specks. But you're not as convinced as Tristan that they're the same flower, or even flowers at all. At that moment, your careless stance catches up with you and your foot slips. Ooh. In a desperate attempt to keep from falling, you grab onto Tristan's coat. For the first time, you manage to catch him off guard. His typically rigid posture wavers, and he leans towards you. You find his face suddenly, startlingly close to yours. That's a hard word to say for me right now. Though his lips remain perfectly composed, his eyes His golden eyes flicker with an unreadable glimmer. If it's important to you, my lady, I can inspect every grave here, one by one. Your entire body heats with mortification, enough to make you momentarily forget the cold. With his help, you manage to regain your balance once more. Sure. Not every grave. You know this is sheer foolishness, yet you press on. I want to check that grave. Tristan's hesitant gaze shifts between you and the hill. My lady, if you'll allow it, I'll check that grave myself. There's no need for you to trouble yourself in this weather. I need to see it with my own eyes. Stubbornness isn't a trait you're usually known for, yet the firmness in your voice leaves Tristan with little choice. Please, my lady, stay as close to me as possible. The ground might be icy. Nodding quickly to brush off his concerns, your thoughts are consumed by one thing: the origin of the Crimson Lily. Perhaps that's why, despite not having gone too far, you fail to notice the freshly snow-covered pit ahead. Oh. It all happens in a fleeting moment, right after you let go of Tristan's arm to adjust your coat. Oh, the character sprite's head was just there. The dry grass covering the pit cracks under your weight, and before you can react, you find yourself at the bottom of the freezing hollow. Thankfully, Tristan rushes to your aid and pulls you out swiftly. But the sharp pain in your leg is impossible to ignore. You return to the manor in a flurry, only to learn from the summoned doctor that your injury is worse than expected. There's no choice but to postpone the wedding. Unlike your fiancé and his family, who are disheartened by the news, you can't exactly say you're unhappy about this small mishap. After all, while the entire household and your fiancé dote on you, eagerly waiting your recovery, you now have the perfect excuse to spend the snowy winter days confined to your bed. If only it weren't for the pain. Okay, ending 1. My wedding's disposed. It is postponed. Okay, we're just gonna... Okay, we're going to say Oscar's gift is more... I'm just curious what these other ones are, because I was pretty sure. I will say, I'm very intrigued by Tristan. Want to see more. I don't know how many options are available in the demo. I'm assuming at least, like, in terms of endings. So I assume making different choices is going to lead us to a different ending. Oscar's gift is important to me. For a fleeting moment, his eyes seem to darken, but it's almost gone as soon as it appears. You know Tristan, known for his calm demeanor and logical approach, isn't exactly pleased with your request. Blah, 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 don't check the grave. No, it's not important. You've been foolish. There's no way you'll truly believe the white lilies you left behind have changed color. As you take Tristan's offered arm, you feel something new, embarrassment mixed with unease. This time it lingers with you until you're settled in the carriage, waiting at the cemetery gates. The warmth of the enclosed space soothes you only slightly. Opposite you, Tristan's presence is a constant, his sharp eyes ever watchful. You know this setup is unconventional for a servant, but since Tristan's arrival, he's been far from an ordinary butler, to the other staff and to you. You haven't been sleeping well lately, my lady. If there's anything besides the upcoming wedding troubling you, please don't hesitate to ask me, or to tell me, rather. Your expression hardens reflexively. Daisy told you this, didn't she? Daisy, your maid, listens to him more than she listens to you, much to your ongoing frustration. I'll dismiss her as soon as we return to the manor. For the first time in what feels like forever, a faint smile crosses Tristan's face. As you wish, my lady. I'll make sure a replacement with all the necessary qualities is arranged promptly. That's precisely the problem. You doubt any new maid, no matter how reserved, would defy him. Tristan is too commanding for a servant, and you far too compliant for a master. Still, his flawless management of the estate over the past 5 years has left no room for complaint, even from you. The sound of hooves crunching through snow, fills the silence. Wolves. My lady, you asked what was keeping me awake at night. Tristan narrows his eyes slightly. Ah, I see. The howls from the forest near the manor, perhaps. It feels like they're howling louder than ever these nights. I'll arrange for hunters from the nearby village to deal with it, my lady. You needn't concern yourself. Thank you. If that's truly all that keeps you up. Your voice rises unintentionally. What do you mean by that, Tristan? Perhaps you should consider postponing the wedding, my lady. I only suggest this because winters are particularly hard on your health. Forgive me if I've overstepped. Your brows knit together in irritation, yet you can't immediately find the words to refute him. I forgot, everyone, if we didn't know, we are in an Omegaverse. This is like my second Omegaverse story. First was a book, so... And I still don't fully understand because I kind of just put it aside for no reason. But I guess it'll help explain this here. Oscar is a noble alpha, and you a noble omega. Marrying Oscar isn't about love. It's an obligation, like every other inexplicable, unshakable duty in your world. You know neither you nor your fiancé truly has a say in this. Postponing the wedding will only temporarily mask this reality. Do I say I'm perfectly fine, everything should proceed as planned, or I'll overlook this for now? But I don't want you bringing this up again. Probably this one. You avert your gaze, unable to read Tristan's expression, but something in his voice shifts, a faint, chilling undertone. You have my gratitude, my lady. I assure you it won't ever happen again. As time passes, you hear the eerie creak of the wrought iron gates surrounding the estate's grounds. The sound signals the end of your journey. Descending from the carriage, you clutch your bag tightly. Hidden beneath your handkerchief lies the crimson lily you found at the grave. The dark silhouette of the manor greets you with all its gloom in the middle of the white landscape. Even though this has disturbed you since childhood, you cannot deny that over the years it has unintentionally bound you to this place. I like how wintry it all looks. When your fiancé expressed his desire to live here after your marriage, enjoying the manor's atmosphere, it was one of the few decisions you made together. Due to its age and size, the manor has never been adequately warm or well lit. Still, as you step inside, the familiar sense of comfort and security relaxes you. Your maid, Daisy, hurries over with quick steps to help you out of your thick outerwear. She looks at you with a warm expression, as if seeking forgiveness for some unspoken guilt. Shall I prepare your bath? You decide to set aside the topic of a new maid for now. Yes, please. As you climb the stairs, you overhear Tristan giving her instructions. Make sure the bath is properly heated. Also, bring chamomile tea with honey and lemon. Without a single protest, Daisy bows to him in a manner she is clearly accustomed to, and a flicker of rebellion ignites within you. However, it extinguishes as soon as you step into the corridor at the top of the stairs and head to your room. You're too tired to challenge the established order in the manor. It's a fatigue that has been intensifying in recent days, robbing you of restful sleep. It feels as if every step you take tightens invisible chains, weighing you down, forcing you to stop. You try to tell yourself this is just wedding stress. At least, you don't have a more reasonable explanation for it. Not yet. The oppressive silence of the manor, filled only with the sound of crackling firewood and distant footsteps, is suddenly interrupted by the creak of a door. Your eyes quickly find your maid, who has appeared at the entrance. The bath is ready, my lady. Thank you, I'm coming. As you step into the bathroom, the stifling heat envelops you. It's much warmer and more humid than usual. Steam rises from the water in the tub, filling the room with a pale glow and fogging the windows at the top of the bathroom. How is the temperature, my lady? You want to ask her to open a window, but the warmth quickly surrounds you, spreading to every corner of your body. It's fine. I'm glad. The butler mentioned you stayed outside for quite some time. This will do you good. With Daisy's help, the ties of your clothes loosen and fall away. In a short time, a pile of fabric forms at your feet, and you can feel the heat directly on your bare skin. Since it's light still, I don't think you'll need many candles. Daisy lights a few candles quickly, then turns to gather the pile of clothes. Would you like me to assist you while you bathe, my lady? Naked and vulnerable, you suppress the chill that rises within you and move toward the tub. No need, Daisy. Thank you. Don't forget to drink your tea. The closing door echoes in the room as Daisy departs. Slowly lowering your body into the warm water, you sink entirely into the tub. At that moment, the pleasant and refreshing aroma from the side of the tub catches your attention. Sure, I'll drink it. Despite the tart taste filling your mouth for the first sip, you keep drinking. You're amazed at how well Tristan seems to know exactly what you need. Soon, an odd sense of joy fills your mind. It feels as if all the invisible chains that weighed you down have snapped, one by one. The approaching wedding, the exhaustion of recent days, the wolves howling through the night, the crimson lilies in the cemetery, the snow-white winter. All of it fades into distant memories in your mind. Your entire body is enveloped in a sweet lethargy. Sleep closes your eyes with a pleasant inevitability. You taste peace. When you open your eyes again, you find yourself still in the bathroom, but you can sense something strange before you see it. At first glance, the only noticeable difference is the absence of daylight filtering through the windows above, replaced by the shadows cast by extinguished candles Daisy had lit. You'd likely dozed off in the tub. The air is so stifling that it's hard to gauge how much time has passed, but you feel the sharp clarity and freshness that comes after an untimely, prolonged rest. Just as you're about to sit up and leave the tub, your gaze falls on a dark silhouette by the edge of the tub. Hello? It doesn't take you long to realize that the shadow is actually a large face with a wide, toothy grin leaning against your bathtub. Scary. Fear courses through your veins, pumping adrenaline into every corner of your body. Huh? A werewolf? The reverberation of the voice against the walls is unsettling, yet oddly, it comforts you. Extending your hand out of the tub, you begin stroking the uninvited guest who has been watching you inappropriately. The creature responds with quick, noisy breaths from its nose, expressing its delight. What are you doing here, Snow? Snow is one of the few things you love about winter. A few years ago, during an incredibly harsh winter, you followed faint, pitiful whimpers outside the manor and found Snow buried in a snow-filled pit, on the verge of freezing. Back then, his wet, sparse fur was barely distinguishable from the snow. Now it has grown thick and glossy. As you run your fingers through his fur, you suddenly realize your hand is wet. You pull your hand back. You're soaking wet, Snow. Have you been rolling around in the snow while I was gone? This discovery dampens your mood, and you can't help but grumble. How could they let you outside? You can't even count how many times Snow has slipped out to the forest without anyone noticing. If there's one thing you remember clearly, it's warning everyone in the manor about this repeatedly. Despite his silence, Snow's large eyes remained fixed on you. Don't look at me like that, Snow. The wild wolves in the forest could tear you apart. As you move your hand away from the tub's edge, you notice the trail it leaves behind. Thick, dark droplets slowly distort the handprint, and you realize that the substance coating Snow's fur isn't melted snow. Your anger quickly gives way to another emotion. Snow, I can't believe this. What happened to you? An enigmatic expression dominates Snow's shadowed face, devoid of pain. Your gaze instinctively shifts from him to yourself. And that's when you realize the truth. The marks don't come from Snow. They come from you. Huh? The tub you've been sitting in is filled with blood. No! Your first scream is filled more with shock than fear. No matter how many times you open and close your eyes, the reality before you doesn't change. This can't be. How could so much blood come from me? You're absolutely certain you don't feel any pain. I'm not injured. You need to get out of the tub immediately. But despite the clarity of your mind, your body refuses to move, frozen like a corpse. And that is the final blow to your control. I can't really yell, that's why my reactions are not really reactions. But we're calling for help now. Daisy? Snow's sharp teeth suddenly clamp down on your bare arm, igniting a new wave of panic. No, Snow, stop, please. Instead of pain or burning, you only feel pressure as Snow's powerful jaws tighten around your arm. With surprising strength, he managed to drag you out of the tub. Well, thank you. Snow, let me go. If you want to help me, go outside and get someone. No matter what you say, you can't stop him. The liquid from the tub spills onto the floor as you are pulled out, and you feel the sticky blood adhering your body to the ground like glue. Crying, screaming, you have no other option. Please, someone, come here. Isn't anyone there? So Snow nudges you a few times with his paws before abandoning his efforts. He circles around you with strange patterns, letting out low, agonized whines. The stiffness and coldness enveloping your body, the blood-filled tub, your unheard cries, and Snow's pained howls ignite one singular thought in your mind. As if trying to escape this reality, you let out a final, desperate cry. We're calling for Tristan. Your voice cuts off abruptly. You have no means left to call for help. At the same moment, Snow gives up his futile struggle and collapses hopelessly onto the floor. In the ensuing silence, you see the shadows in the bathroom multiply. Cold, darkness, and silence. It feels like the beginning of an eternal sleep. However, everything changes in an instant. The sound of hurried footsteps somewhere in the manor rekindles your senses and breath. Before the footsteps can approach, the door opens with a terrible creak. My lady, it's me. A shadow grows larger before your eyes, obscuring your vision. As you wait in silent anticipation, the softness of a towel wrapping your damp skin reaches you. Immediately after, strong arms lift you effortlessly off the ground. Everything's fine, my lady. I'm here. Don't be afraid. Though it sounds like a command, his words swiftly slip into your mind, silencing the uncontrollable orchestra of fear inside. Suddenly, you feel the weight of the breaths you are taking. As the stiffness in your body quickly dissolves, and an involuntary ache spreads through your muscles. A warm shiver runs down your spine from head to toe. What happened here? It's freezing. My lady, are you all right? The light from the doorway stings your eyes. Even so, you can make out Daisy, standing at the door with a lamp in hand, scanning the room in astonishment. The bathtub. The weak sound escapes your parted lips. Hearing you, Tristan turns his gaze to Daisy. Check the bathtub. You see Daisy hesitantly pointing her lap at the bathtub, without fully understanding what's going on. Oh, all the water has spilled out of the tub, and it's gone cold. Water. The realization reignites everything you thought had calmed inside. This time you're sure it wasn't a hallucination. No, impossible. Tristan, put me down. Tristan's amber eyes narrow in suspicion. My lady, I said, put me down. I'll check the tub myself. Let me go. Your impatient outburst draws startled whispers, making you aware of the spectators at the doorway. If everyone in the manor could hear you, why did it take them so long to arrive? Deciding to leave that question for later, you focus on the moment. Tristan finally complies, slowly setting you down from his arms. You take timid steps towards the bathtub, determined. Handing you the lamp, Daisy murmurs hesitantly. What's the matter, my lady? Did you see a mouse? Ignoring her, you firmly direct the lamp's light at the bathtub. But even before you do, the faint glimmer reflecting from the floor proves only that the only water has spilled from the tub. Looking inside confirms the same. The blood that had filled the tub just moments ago. Not even a trace remains. So, everything that just happened was nothing more than another. No matter how vivid and terrifying it felt, you refused to believe it. Tristan's calm but stern voice breaks the silence. Did I assign anyone a task that required standing idly at the door? Am I mistaken? The shadows at the doorway quickly scatter as his tone softens slightly, directed at you. You must have had a nightmare, my lady. I think you're right. Please don't be upset. It must have been caused by the sudden change in temperature. Despite the dim light, you can discern the hardening lines on Tristan's face. Luckily, they're not aimed at you. How could you leave my lady alone in the bath for so long? You weren't even aware the fire had gone out. Under Tristan's icy gaze, the poor servant's face turns crimson. I just... Never leave my lady alone under any circumstances, or you'll need to find yourself a new place to work. What are you still waiting for? Take her to her room immediately. Help her dry off and get dressed, and make sure she hasn't been hurt. Not wanting to stay a moment longer in this unsettling place, you hurry to leave. Just as you're about to step out of the room, one of the shadows in the corner moves and lunges at you. Yes, no? You stare at your dog in disbelief, wondering how it managed to stay still and silent in the bathroom until now. Daisy, afraid of upsetting Tristan further, tries to pull Snow away from you. Now's not the time, Snow. Get away immediately. He never listens. Bad dog. Wait, Daisy. Grabbing a nearby towel, you crouch down to Snow under Daisy's astonished gaze and start drying its fur. Did Snow go outside while I was away? The question catches Daisy off guard. No, my lady. As Tristan approaches, you see her lower her head anxiously, unable to say more. You're certain she's hiding something. Still, you don't want to interrogate her in front of Tristan and prolong the tension of the evening. But just then, you notice a dark stain on the towel in your hands. With a momentary hesitation, you lift your gaze to Tristan. His expression, oddly enough, reassures you. At least this time, you're sure it wasn't your imagination. Not now. Snow starts panting excitedly again, looking at you intently as if trying to tell you something. Yet, despite the insistence in his large bright eyes, he can't convey his message. Tristan's shadow leans over him, shrouding him in darkness. Don't worry, my lady. It seems Snow isn't injured. This blood must have come from somewhere else. His brows furrow as he turns his gaze to Daisy. I've told you countless times not to give him bloody raw meat, haven't I? You know it's one of Tristan's rules to tame Snow, who already looks wilder than an ordinary dog. Though you believe there isn't an ounce of savagery in Snow, you've never opposed Tristan on this matter, especially since he's always claimed Snow was unsuitable for life in the manor. It must have been the kitchen staff who gave it to him. I don't know anything. Truly, my lady. Daisy's pleading gaze is hard to ignore. Let's discuss it later. Can this be discussed later? I'm cold. Tristan hesitates briefly before stepping back in a rush. Of course. Forgive me for keeping you waiting, my lady. You can rest assured that such confusion will never happen in the manor again. As you retreat to your room, Daisy carefully dries and dresses you, but your thoughts remain a tangled mess. You can barely follow her words as she continues, her gaze filled with gratitude, never leaving you. Believe me, my lady, I came as soon as I heard your voice. I just wanted to tidy up your belongings while you were bathing. I noticed one of your perfumes was almost empty, so I went downstairs to send a servant to order a new one. You know, the wedding is approaching, and everything must be perfect. Daisy gently rubs ointment over the few bruises on your back and legs caused by your fall on the bathroom's hard floor. As for the strong bite Snow left on your arm, there isn't a single mark. You could have guessed Snow wouldn't do such a thing, now peacefully curled up and sleeping near the roaring fireplace. Catching your gaze on the dog, Daisy immediately speaks up. I had nothing to do with that bloody meal, my lady. Bloody meal? I mean the blood on Snow. Maybe he slipped outside and caught a rabbit or something. I never go against Tristan's, or rather, your orders. You know, at the least in this manner, she isn't lying, or more precisely, can't lie. Thank you, Daisy. Since Daisy is taking these marks more seriously than usual due to the approaching wedding, you wait for her to finish her work so you can be alone. Afterward, you need to reflect on everything that happened today and make a decision. First, the bloody lilies in the cemetery, and then the bloody bathtub. Will you accept that this was all just a delusion and consult a doctor? Or do you still believe something is amiss and that you need to find it? You survived the day. 9 days left. All right. Okay, I think there's one more Whoops, cut myself off on accident. I stopped the recording rather than just paused it. Um, I think I'm going to leave us in suspense about that other ending, just because that was a lot for that ending we just got. We survived, but also at what cost? There seems to be a lot of secrets surrounding our character and the manor, and also Tristan. Though I do trust him, but like I don't know what's happening with her situations that she's going through. So it'll be very intriguing to see what happens. I'm very curious to see how everything is going to unfold. Who is Oscar? We haven't seen Oscar. I'm just imagining. Who am I even imagining? Um, I'm only imagining if you ever watched the. Have you ever watched The Gilded Age? I haven't watched it in such a long time, but there's an Oscar character, so I'm imagining that man as Oscar, even though he could look completely different, mustache and all. But anyways, thank you so much for watching the demo for The Winter Wedding. If you like the video, please press the like button, and if you want to see more of visual novel playthroughs on my channel, then feel free to subscribe and hit the like button for notifications. And as always, let me know what your thoughts are about this game or any others, and I'd be happy to chat. Alright, until next time, bye!